a podcast to honor the gods.
This better come with a sacrifice.
Dave X Media.
The bits.
Welcome to The Bits, hosted by your favorite jam buds, Robert.
And Charlie!
Holy crap. Hey, Charlie, I think this episode's going to be posted in August, right?
Yep, totally. In August.
Yep, that's the month it is. I don't know what you're talking about.
That's the month this episode will come out. Not 3 months later because of an unforeseen actors strike that put Hollywood on hold and had everyone, comply with the boycotting stuff.
I mean, hey, you know the actors and the writers, they did a strike and they did good.
Arguably, this was very foreseen in the industry, and some people in power were in denial. And now they can't deny it anymore. So that's good.
You know what else we can't deny?
That new disembodied voice that you hear is
we gotta do my bit.
A new guest.
My bit was gonna be, and we can't deny our guests from introducing themselves.
Oh, okay.
Hello.
We're doing two different bits.
So many bits.
We are.
I came here for the bits, and I got them.
We are the bits.
Who
because
are
we're the bits.
We have a new guest. This is my friend Kyela.
I am Kyla.
That's who she is.
That's all there is. That's all there is to me.
That's your credentials. That's why you are on the esteemed 12th ranked Steven Universe podcast.
I mean, I like Steven Universe. You like Steven Universe. We're here to like it together.
That's true. Well, first I was going to ask our guests, our usual new guest question. Hey, Kyla, how'd you get into Steven Universe?
Hello, I'm Kyla, in case anyone forgot my name already. I first got into Steven Universe in high school because I had this friend who got me into a bunch of media from webcomics through Ava's Demon and Gravity Falls and stuff. And one day she came into school and said, "Hey, Kyla, have you seen that show, Steven Universe?" I'm like, "Oh, I've heard of it. I've seen some clips here and there at the end of a few episodes," because it happened to be on be finishing up right when I came home from school. And she was like, "You need to watch Steven Universe." And I was like, "Okay, noted." So then I binged it. Come to find out, what had almost definitely happened was that she had just seen the episode Jailbreak and wanted to fangirl about it.
I was gonna say, I wonder what episode got her to be like this. Yeah, it's always Jailbreak, I swear.
Because I had seen clips of it before. I saw the tail end of Mirror Gem, and I was like, oh, this show looks really interesting, but I never sat down to watch it. And then I did. And then I got into the show from that. So that which was right by the time I started watching it, it was right before the Steven bomb that started with Sworn to the Sword. So the very first episode of Steven Universe I got to watch live on TV was Sworn to the Sword. So I think it's fitting that I'm here for this episode, which is kind of a predecessor to that one.
In fact, it is. Yeah.
I like when Pearl gets to be a badass. I don't know what to tell you.
I like when Pearl.
Yeah, that is the end of that sentence.
That is the end of that sentence. I just like Poil.
Speaking of Poil, we're looking at Season 1, Episode 16 of Steven Universe, Steven the Sword Fighter, which premiered April 9th, 2014.
Yep.
Wow.
Are we going to do our bit where we say, oh my god, 2014, that's almost 10 years? No, we're not going to do that.
I trust the audience can do the math if they care.
To audience doing math. What do you think we are? A bunch of mathematicians, says the person who's trying to become an engineer.
Said to a chemist.
Chemistry.
When an engineer and a chemist walk into a bar.
Ow.
Ow. It's really funny because the episode hasn't come out yet. It won't come out for a while because the show's coming out. But like, I specifically chose the OTEG episode where Annabeth got stabbed. So this the second time in a row we're recording where a female lead gets stabbed.
Robert,
Wow.
is this your kink?
I can't
No.
Like
believe
females getting stabbed? Is that your
No.
kink?
No,
I can't believe you're not a feminist.
Then again, Pearl isn't even a female. Gems don't
Yeah.
have gender.
This is true.
They have gender.
Gemder, haha. So the episode opens up with Steven and the Gems watching a Japanese movie called Lonely Blade 4.
There's 4 of these? Why did they
No,
bother?
there's 5.
Right, there
Didn't
is a
you
fifth
know?
one. Yeah, there is a fifth one.
At least 5.
Yeah.
Maybe more.
Oh, also, because I was thinking when I was watching this, between Lonely Blade and the like comic that Ruby was reading, Lonesome Lasso, how many lonely lead character shows are there? Why does Steven consume so much loneliness content? Is he okay?
He's not okay.
No, he's not. He gets real trauma in this episode. Not that he hasn't already received trauma, but
Yeah. Ugh, this baby can fit so much trauma in it.
we get to finally see the boomerang blade. Y'all, have we not been waiting for the boomerang blade?
The boomerang blade. I got such
You mean
Sokka
the ship name for
vibes.
Sokka and Suki? What?
Yes, correct.
I got such Sokka vibes throughout this episode because Steven is just he's Steven. So Pearl is like, hey, that is not actual sword fighting. That's some whack ass Hollywood shit. I can show you real sword fighting.
Yeah, and then she does. Is this the first time that we're seeing the like
The Cloud Temple. It's a cloud temple. That's what the Wikipedia calls it. So yeah, I believe it's
Yeah.
the first time we see it.
Yeah. It's different than the Sky Arena, technically.
is
That
it
they do.
different?
Yeah.
Okay, I thought it was the same place.
Because like they do the wide shot in this thing, and it's way smaller than the wide shot when they do in the Sky Arena in Sworn to the Sword and other episodes like Steven versus Amethyst. And like there's not like the entryway stairs and stuff.
Okay, this is just called Pearl's Arena, according to the wiki.
Yeah.
And it's only in this episode.
Yep.
Why? Why do we have 2 different arenas?
I think so. Like Steven Universe was a storyboard driven show, and I feel like just a lot of the stuff in season 1 was like either not fully fledged out at time of production, or they didn't know what they were going to do with it, and they might have changed things later out of just either inconsistency, misremembering, or just trying to move along production.
Yeah, personally, I'm just gonna say that they're supposed to be the same arena,
That's
and they just
fair.
changed the design of it.
That's
like
100% fair. No, new headcanon. It's like imagining that there's a adjacent room next to the Sky Arena, and this is like the small training room. But then Pearl wanted to impress Connie, so she took her to the big arena room to be like, "Look at our impressive gem stuff, Connie."
Exactly. Connie gets to go to the cool one.
And then Steven's like, what happened to the shut up, Steven? No one talks about the old one.
We don't talk about Pearl's Arena.
No.
So we get some beautifully. So Pearl at first is like, she needs a sparring partner. And Steven raises his hand, but Garnet's like, no.
No.
Don't we love that? Just
Steven, you don't know what you're asking for. I'm gonna protect you from yourself.
We love protective square mom.
we get Hollow Pearl. Don't we love Hollow Pearl? Isn't she terrifying?
She's like my 5th favorite Pearl.
5th favorite. Let's see. Pearl, Yellow Pearl, Blue Pearl, Pink Pearl, Hollow Pearl.
Yeah. Those
Yeah.
are the 5
Those
pearls.
are the pearls.
It would
We
have
did
just been
it.
funny if you were like, Pearl, 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 Hollow Pearl.
Well, it's actually Pearl, volleyball, Hollow Pearl. So,
True.
or whatever order you
True.
put volleyball in. I just did that in my head. It was in order of like the diamond insignia.
Yeah.
But
Yeah.
volleyball is great. That was not meant to be shade at volleyball. Oh, also
Amazing.
speaking of diamonds and their pearls, Hollow Pearl, because this is Pearl's first design in the show.
Yeah, it
and she has a
is.
star. Hollow Pearl has a diamond instead of a star on her
Foreshadowing.
chest.
Oh shit.
Yeah. Well, I mean, because like people like in the later episode when like Steven tries to build a spaceship with his dad and Pearl's spacesuit has the pink diamond on it, so it's like even earlier foreshadowing that like sometimes some part of Pearl just still can't like not have the diamond attached to it. possibly. She has attachment issues.
Pearl needs to listen to the
Yeah.
2000 and I want to say 11 critically acclaimed song from the animated Disney Pixar movie, Let It Go. Well, the Pixar movie is Frozen. The song is Let It Go. I want to clarify.
Pixar movie?
That wasn't Pixar.
Is it? Okay, so the Disney movie.
No. It was
I get
just
so
Robert-
Disney.
confused. I get so confused with which movies are Disney and which movies are Pixar because it's
CGI.
it's all CGI. It's weird.
In general, if there's a princess, it's Disney. Of course, Merida breaks that rule, but like in
Merida
general,
is the exception because Pixar was like trying to do something.
yeah. Don't get me started. I just watched that guy's analysis, the like hour-long Brave analysis, and I got thoughts.
Brave is a good movie. It's just not maybe the greatest Pixar movie.
It's trying to be two movies at once, and it's a little weird sometimes, but I liked it. But we're not here to
Anyway.
talk about Brave. We're here to talk about another badass warrior woman.
Who's
Yes,
not even a woman.
true.
Because gems have
Well-
gender.
Gemder.
So there's this wonderfully animated sequence of Pearl versus Hollow Pearl, where
Yeah.
Pearl's showing
Amazing
off a little bit.
music. Love it so much.
Pearl's showing off a little bit. She's not, giving her all, but she is putting on a nice show.
She's showing Steven how sword fighting works.
I
You
feel
know?
like Pearl is partial is like a performer at heart as much as she's like, here's real sword fighting, but she's still showing off. It's like there's a reason why Sardonyx is like such a stage personality. It's because Pearl is just that has the dramatic flair for that.
Oh yes, absolutely.
Anyway,
And
very very awesomely choreographed fight sequence against herself, kind of her hologram self. I don't know.
okay, do we know if the other gems have this power or is this just a Pearl power?
We only ever see Pearl projecting light from her gem for like when she has that dream sequence in that one episode when she's projecting
Yeah.
Lapis, when she's projecting at the Sea Spire, when she's projecting the other gems. Also, fun thing in that was this one post when that episode came out, how it's like her projection of Amethyst versus her projection of Garnet were like kind of wonky versus her projection of herself was like exactly perfect. And her projection
Yeah.
of Rose in that later episode is also exactly perfect. So
Talk about
Wonder.
symbolism.
gee, so then this projection of herself, but separate from herself to fight herself, is also
Very
pretty
interesting.
perfect. Minus
Very
the lip
interesting.
syncing.
Yeah.
It's funny. Hollow Pearl's lip syncing is kind of like like some anime dubs where just like we're just gonna open and close the mouth a whole bunch. It's kind of like mocap
Yeah.
lips, but not really. It's kind of
It
like
helps to make her scarier, you know?
yeah.
I mean, she's not a human, but it makes her feel even less human, if that makes any sense.
Like less sentient.
There
It's
we
the
go.
uncanny
robotic.
valley.
Yeah. Like if Hollow Pearl lip synced like a normal character, I would be a lot less terrified. But the like, do you wish to as her lips are going up and down like 10 times? I'm just like, this is horrifying.
Yeah. Is this another horror movie episode that we should have had Josh on again?
We should have had Josh on.
At this
Literally.
point, just have him on speed dial at this rate.
Literally,
Like-
I swear, we keep coming across more and more Steven Universe episodes that feel like a little too horror.
It's hard to remember that it's horror because everything's like pastel colored until it isn't.
Yeah, exactly.
It's like, yeah,
Exactly.
what could possibly go wrong? It's like Happy Tree Friends, but like more emotionally driven.
There's that line from, I forget which cartoon it is. It's like, and nothing can go wrong. Oh no, it all went wrong. Oh, Chowder, that's where it's from.
Yeah.
All right.
So Steven wants to learn moves like the boomerang blade, but Pearl insists
Nope.
on showing him the basics at first. Parry, parry.
Thrust.
And telling Steven to focus on what she's doing with her feet, which is, pay attention to your stance. Everything begins with your stance.
Keep your stance
Stance
wide.
wide.
Keep your body lowered.
lowered. And as you're moving forward.
Don't get stabbed by your hologram self.
True, absolutely. Yeah, just Steven is he's doing a Steven here. He's distracting her because he's like, no, do the boomerang blade, and she's like trying to talk to him and also trying to fight.
Parry,
But
parry,
stab.
thrust.
Always keep your eyes on what you're doing. Never turn your back on the enemy. Trust no one, not even yourself, meme. I'm sure that's already been made before, but still, we're talking about it now.
I gotta say that the shadow, like the shot of her shadow being stabbed, has stuck with me all these years, even though I haven't seen this episode in so long.
Literally, that's yeah.
It's a
It's
lot.
it's giving me like the when Disney kills off a villain vibes. You know, y'all know that shot of Tarzan, right? That I did not catch for many, many years as a child. I never noticed that.
Well, because it wasn't just a shot of Tarzan, but
I never saw the shadows.
I definitely didn't either the first few times. That's definitely just because of like the glare on the TV.
That's fair. That's fair. But you know, when you kill a character off screen, but she wasn't even killed off screen. Like
She was
you
killed
fully
on the
see
screen.
She wasn't even killed.
it. True. We gotta
Well,
explain that.
I mean,
right?
when Steven explains it in that later episode when he's telling Dr. Peshwarn about his trauma, he does say Pearl died. So, like, you know, he's
Briefly.
so, like, even though he later does understand what's happening, that it's not death, he still is traumatized as if it's death. Anyway, it's not
Oh,
death.
It's not death. And
It's just a little death.
I have such a headcanon right now
Every
that I'm pretty sure a million people have had before me. So the way it's explained is that when a gem's physical form takes significant damage, they will go back into their gem and spend an amount of time regenerating until they make a new body and come back out.
Whoa! Are you saying it's like Doctor Who or something? Is that what you're saying?
That's exactly what I'm saying. Whoa! By the way, shout out to Doctor Who, where the message of the show is being trans will save the universe. Trans rights, let's fucking go.
Trans fucking rights, guys. I gotta watch those new episodes. I'm
And
so
also-
behind. I'm sorry.
And also the 14th Doctor is probably the gayest Doctor we've had until the 15th, so you know, it's great.
Good. So
Sure.
good. I'm so
Mhm.
glad.
Good for them.
Good for
I don't watch
them.
Doctor Who. It's just so much. There's so much of it.
You can just
There's
watch
so much
New
Steven
Who.
Universe.
There's only 16 seasons of New Who, or 15, whatever it is.
Or you could just start with the newest episodes, because they're starting back at season 1.
Yeah, they're rebooting it again, technically.
And now it's on Disney Plus. It's wild.
It's wild.
What
I'll
a
never
time to be
forget.
alive.
I'll never forget when Doctor Who had their moment where we're like, we're gonna stream on Disney XD, and I was with like a bunch of kids at a party, and they were watching Disney XD. They were watching Doctor Who. And I'm like, oh hell yeah, I can hang out, watch Doctor Who. The adults can party. And then it's the episode where the Doctor fights Satan, and on the wall should be written like "Go to hell" or whatever it is, but the word "hell" is hilariously blurred out. It's so obnoxiously distracting.
Oh my
That's
god.
fun.
Oh, Disney XD, where shows go to die.
But speaking
Absolutely.
of dying and going to hell, Pearl will have
Did Pearl go to Super Hell? Did she go to Super Hell?
to super hell. Damn.
I mean, we see the inside of her gem in that later episode. Like, it could arguably be a kind of purgatory or hell, depending on your perspective of things.
Robert, I assume you don't know about like the supernatural thing. We have a mutual friend who watches Supernatural, so we just know about the whole like
It's Dean and Castiel, and after being like a whole bunch of potential queer baiting, I think maybe, I could be wrong, people were
Yes.
shipping it, and then in this one episode, like, the angel character Castiel is I think also was previously told, hey, if you say the thing, you're gonna go to hell and not be able to come back, which the characters have gone to hell before and saved people from hell, but this is going to be a different hell that he won't be able to be saved from. And at the end of the episode, Castiel says to Dean, I love you. Dean says nothing in return, and then
Nothing.
Castiel gets sent to super hell. The angel gets sent to super hell. But in the Spanish dub of that episode that came out later, Castiel says, I love you, te amo, and Dean says, y yo a ti, and I you. And then he still gets sent to super hell.
The fact that the Spanish dub changed it. I love that so much every time I hear it.
And that's a brief summary of Destiel becoming canon for 5 whole seconds before doing the barrier gaze trope, but so much worse.
Anyway, that's why Super Hell is a meme. Did your fave go to Super Hell? Is like a Tumblr thing.
I desperately want to be like, this is a completely different show, but just hearing that, my brain immediately went to like, and that's what you missed on Glee.
Good. Literally, it's all the same meme. It's like 50 memes down.
We need to tell that to Blake, who also likes Glee.
Who also watches Glee.
The friend who used to watch Supernatural and then of course rewatched that one scene also likes Glee.
I only know 3 things about Supernatural: the Scooby-Doo episode, the queer baiting that paid off for 5 seconds, and the boys driving into Missoula, Montana, because Hank Green made a TikTok being like, there is no random sign and road that leads into Montana. It's mountains, mountains, mountains.
Oh, no, the one other thing I know about Supernatural is that there is a ginger character named Charlie who is a lesbian who dies because
Wow.
bare your gaze.
I can't
And
believe
everybody was
Supernatural is so
telling me about
homophobic.
this when I changed my name to Charlie, and I'm like, cool. This is not making me want to watch it.
You know, expressing opinions about Supernatural is pretty dicey territory. Do we want to cut this from the episode before people come
What?
after you?
Kyla, why don't you tell everyone about your opinions on The Witcher?
No, I'm good. I don't need hate mail.
Okay, let's talk about Steven Universe.
Plenty of people share my opinions on The Witcher. It's not just me, but
Good. Okay, so Pearl
back to Steven Universe.
back to Steven Universe. Pearl is not dead, but she's dead for like a week.
2 weeks.
2 weeks.
Yeah, 2 God, like Steven is just sitting there with the pearl, the gem that's just like there because he misses her.
I'm surprised that Amethyst shenanigans have not burned down the house throughout the past 2 weeks.
Seriously.
I mean, probably not for lack of trying. You see how much of a mess that place is? That can't just be Steven. Steven was raised by Pearl. He learned how to clean up after himself. Of course, he does explain that she like normally helps him clean up, but like he definitely knows how to. He's like choosing not to out of grief, or Amethyst made a mess and he wasn't going to clean up her mess for her.
I mean, maybe Garnet is handling Amethyst for the time being.
Maybe.
You know? But he's like, you know what? Pearl's not here, but I have the next best thing. Because Hollow Pearl is still here? She's just been here?
Yeah, so one of my questions watching this episode is like, so obviously we see at the end that it's not necessarily the case, but like, can only Pearl get rid of Hollow Pearl? Like, she can like suck Hollow Pearl back up into her gem, but like, did neither of the other gems think, oh, we should like contain this somewhere besides Steven's room? Like, you know, even just like it would be such an Amethyst thing to like put the Hollow Pearl with a sword in its hand into Pearl's room somehow and be like, go wild. Everything here wishes to engage in combat. Go. But they don't do that because then they wouldn't have the episode.
Did no one consider killing Hollow Pearl?
Right.
You know, I mean, I assume because Future Vision exists that Garnet was just like,
it does?
It does. We're a spoilery show. Like Garnet's just like, yeah, it's not actually gonna kill Steven or anybody. It's fine.
Yeah.
So she just leaves it. Cause she's like, in all the futures that I see, Steven can handle himself. Okay. So they just don't bother. I don't know. Or maybe it's to teach Steven a lesson about the how he almost learns a lesson at the end. He's like, I guess you just have to accept to wait for Pearl until she just like comes right back.
Yeah. It's we'll get there in a second. Hollow Pearl is kind of a nuisance where she's just pretty much trying to engage a fight. She's literally that meme that's like, you won't, mate? You want to fucking go, yo?
You know what Hollow Pearl is? It's like,
is she British?
I don't know. Is she British? It's like when Hero
Gems don't have nationalities. They're not citizens. They don't have nationalities.
Now you make me think of when Leanne's talking about how Garnet invented the British accent. our friend believes that Garnet invented the British accent, and I'm just like,
so we can blame Garnet for Britain. Damn it.
We seriously can. No, I had a thought that like,
here comes a thought that might alarm you.
I can't let me speak.
No.
Can I speak on my podcast?
No, you're not allowed to speak. That's what I'm here for. I'm also going to usurp you. I'm taking over the podcast entirely.
It's like when Hero puts the martial arts chip into Baymax, and instead of Baymax being like having a personality and like being able to do multiple things, just kill mode.
Yeah.
That's it. That's the one mode that's going on.
Remove like emotions and everything else mode. It's like, here's just fight mode. You're just fight mode. You know, the one rule about fight mode is get the fuck out of fight mode.
The one rule about fight mode is you don't talk about fight mode.
Don't talk about it. We don't talk about fight mode.
The second rule of fight mode is you don't. Anyway. Eventually, Steven just like settles in for the night and he's like, I'm going to watch Lonely Blade 5. Jesus Christ, how many of these goddamn movies are there?
Also, there is a bit before they're watching the movie where Steven's trying to make Hollow Pearl like be like Pearl, like help me clean up my mess.
Yeah, it's so cute.
But it's not working.
But the thing that ruins me is that like he took her to like Funland for the day. They apparently had a great time, and then he takes her to Pearl's tree. This is the last time we ever see Pearl's tree.
Mm-hmm.
Because Hollow Pearl murders it with a balloon sword.
R.I.P.
Explain the physics to me.
Hollow Pearl has the power of God and anime on her side, so...
Yeah, sure. Technically speaking...
Correct.
If you strike anything with enough force, you can break it. However, that would also mean that the balloon sword should have popped.
Yeah, there's no, like, I could understand the tree coming down because it's a cartoon, but it would have been really funny if Hollow Pearl made the tree come down and then the balloon sword also popped from, like, all the splinters and whatever.
Yeah, I think it should have, like,
been
fizzled out, like,
equal and opposite reaction joke. Anyway, and then also Steven tries to have her clean up messes with him, and he shows all these figurines that are definitely not references to popular media. Nope, not at all.
No,
but it's really
talk
funny.
About those later, definitely.
No, it's really funny because like he shows up the different figurines, and the one with the sword is the one that Hollow Pearl decides to try and stab. So even through the sheet, she's just like, I sense a sword. I sense a weapon. Do you wish to engage in combat? Too bad, I'm going to choose for you.
Also, meanwhile, Amethyst has eaten a cloud.
Yeah. She's been floating on that cloud all episode. It's definitely totally not a reference to Dragon Ball Z. Nope, there's no anime references in this episode at all. No references of any kind. This is entirely original, 110% original content all the way.
So yes, we're talking about Lonely Blade 5. Steven found a copy of it, and he's over Hollow Pearl. He hates her now, and he's trying to watch the movie, and she's just like under a sheet. Like, do you wish to engage in combat? Just still there.
And I think, does she have the sword again at this point? Like, who gave her a sword? Who gave her a sword? Like, she'd been going from, like, the balloon sword to, like, an umbrella briefly when she was with, and like, other things. It's like, who gave her a normal sword again? Who thought this would be a good idea?
She just found a sword.
She just found, like, the spare Pearl sword.
I guess so.
I mean, because, like, Pearl can, like, manifest items from her gem. I like to imagine that instead Hollow Pearl can also manifest items with just swords.
Yeah.
Obviously she can't, but how hilarious would that be if she could just have infinite swords?
It is interesting, like, we haven't actually mentioned it, but, like, Pearl's weapon isn't even a sword, it's, like, a spear.
Yeah.
But, like, she's choosing to use, like, a specific other weapon that she's storing in her gem. It's not, like, her summoned weapon. It's something else.
I have to wonder if Pearl just has, like, an entire arsenal of every possible weapon available, like, in her gem, and she just is like, here's my weapon, and here's, like, all the other weapons just cataloged and available for use at any given time.
Pearl, why don't you take out, like, a bazooka? Like, what? Take out something with some firepower!
In the White Diamond Stephen A.U. comic, that's on Top Us by, Chekhov, whatever, is a cool fan comic, but it's like White Diamond Steven, so it said it's White Pearl, and it's like, hey, and they're trying to, spoilers for that comic, they're trying to get White Pearl to summon a weapon, and she just reaches her gem and pulls out a gun, and the other crystal gems are like, no, and then just pulls out another gun, because it's not her gem weapon, that is just a gun that she stole from someone and just stored for later use. It's amazing. Anyway, White Diamond AU comic is a great comic. There's a lot of fan comics of Steven Universe. They're all great.
Of course there are. Steven Universe is great. That's why. So
Steven is the best.
Yes, he is. As Steven's watching Lonely Blade, we gotta talk about the PTSD. This is like
the first time being depicted having actual PTSD flashbacks. He's seeing the sword on the screen. He's remembering the sword going through his beloved friend and sort of mom Pearl, like guardian Pearl. Ooh.
Yeah.
And you can just see the look on his face where he's just like, previously watching the Lily Blade movie, he was like all smiley, like, oh, this is a great dub. And like in this time, he's like, oh, it's a great dub. It's a good time. And then he sees the sword and he just like, his face kind of falls and he's just like, he looks so sad.
I need to make an edit when we get to it in like 30 years when Steven is like rounding out his traumas to Connie's mom, just like intersplice little segments from each trauma, like from the episodes, and then end it with, and that's what you missed on Glee.
Literally.
That's
Basically.
2. Comedy comes in 3. How will I use my 3rd?
We shall see. Yeah, so Steven has some trauma. Finally, we're seeing it. We're seeing that it exists. And then what does Hollow Pearl do? She kills the TV because it gave him trauma.
This TV gets destroyed so many times. I think in the first episode with like Gemglow, I think later Peridot breaks it too, and then definitely a few other times I just can't remember.
The thing is, those kind of big bulky tube TVs are relatively cheap nowadays because people are just getting rid of them.
But still, also those big bulky the old TVs often have like hazardous things inside of them that if you break, it's not great to be exposed to that. Good thing Steven's only half human. Not all of them, but definitely a lot of them are not good TM.
It would be pretty par for the course if the first time Steven ever went to the hospital, instead of what actually, like, why he went, would have been like, I got radiation poisoning from breaking all my TVs.
Oh, God. Oh, no.
And they're
You know what?
Steven, if you have radiation poisoning, you shouldn't be walking. And he's like, I'm okay.
I mean,
you know what? Maybe Connie's mom also noticed that when he went there. She's like, there's also this, but like it's healed. I don't know how.
So wait, radiation poisoning. All I can think of now is like Greg like perpetually has like a sunburn because he's out in the sun all day, and Steven's never depicted having a sunburn, but he's definitely like about as pasty as Greg is. So I wonder if the gemness is immune to radiation, partially because they're made of light, and light versus other waves would be different. I don't know.
It's all just weird.
Wibbly wobbly.
Timey-wimey. So Hollow Pearl, Steven beats the quote-unquote like easy mode. I forget the exact, I think it's basic attack mode, right? That's what it's called?
Yeah.
He defeats it.
Well, first he like somehow says fight me, in a phrase.
Yeah.
It's like, I think it's like all you want to do is fight me.
Fight me. And then Pearl's like,
or something like
accepted.
That. And he's just like, oh my, talking to an internet troll, be like,
finally, how are the opponent? Our battle will be legendary.
Yeah, and so then parry thrust, and then he's throwing his toys at her, and then he hits her. And she's been defeated. Advanced mode.
She gets like fucking red eyes, and she becomes like at this point she just becomes, honestly, if they changed her color scheme a little bit, she'd be Nega Pearl.
No, wait, she is Nega Pearl.
She already is. Oh no.
Oh my God.
Which is funny because we technically get a colorless version of Pearl. Ooh, whatever. But still, This is just Nega Pearl Nega Pearl right now.
And now Nega Scott.
Nega Pearl. So she tries to kill him pretty much. He employs some advanced...
Who doesn't try to kill Steven at least once during this series?
Yeah.
Everyone tries to kill him.
Maybe Garnet. Nope. My computer thought I was talking to Siri, and it was trying to finish my sentence as a search to Siri, and I was not trying to talk to Siri.
This is why I turned Siri off. I hate her.
This is why I have a computer without Siri. Let's go, boys.
Anyway, I think Garnet might be the only gem that hasn't actively tried to kill Steven at some point.
I feel like we will find out a time then maybe she did try to kill Steven.
I can't remember one, or like accidentally, like, Amethyst and Steven have that fight, Pearl tries to take him into space and almost kills him a bunch of other ways by accident. And then I can't recall one of Garnet. Of course, all the other gems that were fighting and then turned good tried to kill him at least once.
The time that comes up in my brain is not like an intentional she tried to kill him, but like remember that time that she got like so traumatized by the fusions that she just like couldn't help Steven?
Yeah. Yeah, but that was not like her bringing him to a danger situation and stuff. It was more like,
Yeah.
hey, I mean, she did a little bit. She actually did take him off the main chase of Peridot into that, but I don't know. It's not the
Yeah.
same as bringing
No, it's not the same.
this at least partially human child into space, or throwing him
Yeah.
to the ground with your whip attack, or
You'll see him in 50 years. I'll be dead in 50 years. Fun times. So
Steven
Steven has to fight.
Steven employs some excellent battleground tactics where he employs walrus defense, which does not work. He
Nope.
attempts to use boomerang, and boomerang just comes back. Shout out to Steven. He actually threw a boomerang properly. Those some bitches are really hard to throw sometimes, like in a way
Good
that'll
job,
make them come
Steven.
by.
I have to wonder if he got a boomerang after watching the first Lonely Blade movie.
Oh, absolutely.
And it was like the gems or his dad and said, like, I'm not going to give you a boomerang made of swords. I don't even know if they make those, but like, here's an actual boomerang. And then he just got really good off screen at using one.
Give me more Steven using a boomerang.
Give
Give
me
it to
more of
me.
Steven being a weeb.
Give
him
it
more
to me.
of him being a fanboy.
Shopping.
And
So
then last he has a mop.
when he uses a mop. When I type boomerang sword into Google, I get a bunch of Legend of Zelda stuff. I was not aware there's a boomerang sword in Legend of Zelda.
What?
Oh my goodness. Which
from
Legend of Zelda?
Tears of the Kingdom, apparently.
Oh, of course it is! That makes sense. No, you're right. That does in fact have boomerang swords.
But if you want to buy that looks like a foot-long boomerang sword, you can get one on eBay for $65.
All right. Will do.
eBay.com.
Eventually, he throws the mop like the boomerang blade and impales Hollow Pearl.
Yay! He waits for the perfect moment to strike. This feels very Avatar.
Okay, but how were his feet?
This feels very like Toph,
Okay. But how were his feet? Did he have a good stance? I don't think he had a good stance.
You're not.
Hold on, let me play that back. Let me see his stance in this.
Did he keep his stance wide? Did he keep his body lowered?
His stance. Actually, looking at the screen cap in that moment, his stance is pretty good.
All right.
That's pretty good.
And he did the boomerang blade with the mop, just like the janitor in the Lonely Blade movie at the beginning.
Fighting with the mop at the beginning and end. It's come full circle.
We did it. That's Steven Universe for you.
Wait, I just thought of something. Yeah? It's exactly what Pearl would have wanted for him to use the power of cleaning to save the day. She would have been so proud.
Good job. We did it.
He mopped the floor with Hollow Pearl. Anyway, moving on. Even though it's
And then here's the moment that I mentioned earlier where he's like about to accept things as the gems are coming back for the day, and he's dissipated Hollow Pearl, and then Pearl immediately comes back and she's in her new outfit. What do you think of the new outfit? Do we love it?
I think she slays always, so can't go wrong with Pearl's outfits.
Can't go wrong. Absolutely. And then Steven does his little Pearl's back thing. Pearl's back. Puts his shirt on his head and bangs pans.
Yeah.
Sure.
It's exactly what Pearl would have wanted.
And how does the episode end?
How does it end?
With Amethyst?
I've forgotten.
I also forgot. I hate to watch it for 2 seconds.
Well, Amethyst she ate a piece of cloud, so now she's all puffed up, and Pearl's like, what happened to your room? I'm not even going to ask what happened to you, Amethyst.
I got hit by an airplane.
Yep.
I love that.
Steven does his Pearl's back thing, and Pearl's just like, I can't leave you guys alone for a second.
Yes.
Well, she left them alone for 2 weeks. And that's the end. We did it.
That's what you missed on Glee.
Woo.
Fantastic. Hey, Charlie.
Hey, Robert.
Are you ready for some Crystal Temple trivia?
I am. I'm ready.
Let's go.
This is the
So
first episode to show an on-screen gem reformation, with Pearl being the first character to have it happen to on-screen.
this says reformation. It's regeneration, as we've already figured out. It's Doctor Who. Anyway,
The next line does say regeneration, so it might just be people going thesaurus happy on this.
it could be very well
Don't-
could be.
Don't always use a thesaurus, guys. Just like repeat words. It's fine.
No, we gotta talk about like the different, like there's a couple different forms of light in here. There's like an
Yep.
unknown design, like a promotional design from before the pilot, and then like her pilot outfit I think is also in there.
It is. And I think her 80s outfit or whatever that
her outfit from Story for Steven, and then the design from the debut. Yeah, it's very cool. She's light. She's made of light,
Yeah.
guys.
like when the gems reform, they show like first it's like their base empty blank model, and then it's like all their previous forms, which like we see a lot of the gems reforming, and it's all, and we always see like the full timeline of like their regenerations, and it's like Pearl has a few, Amethyst had so many, Lapis had like just the one, Pink Diamond, Rose Quartz, Pearl in the very finale. It just ends on Steven.
Yeah.
It's
Yay!
they regenerate.
It's just
cool.
funny. If we made all the gems Time Lords, let's see, Pearl would be on her like 8th regeneration. Garnet would be on like, by the end would be on like, okay, no, by the end, Pearl would be like on her 10th or 11th. Garnet would be on her like 3rd or 4th. Amethyst has been dead for millennia.
Yeah.
Amethyst had to get extra regenerations from the Time Lord Council, actually.
They're like, Amethyst, you ran through your regenerations, all 12 of them, in the span of 2 weeks. How do you explain to yourself? I got hit by an airplane.
Actually, it's now that I think about it, it's like we don't ever technically see Garnet like reform. We see her reform as a fusion because she's a fusion, but like we never see her like we don't, as far as I can recall, we don't ever see Ruby or Sapphire like regenerate from their gems. So yeah, that's a thing. But we see Garnet get fused into a lot, so like it's fine.
It's fine.
Garnet's a different type, you know?
She's just a different breed. It's fine.
Did you guys know that you could see a small part of the burning room as Amethyst is hanging out with Steven and Hollow Pearl?
I did not remember this, but all right, sure.
Yeah, that I wouldn't be surprised. It's in the temple. It be there?
It is. It sure is. A written gem language is seen inscribed in the pillars of the gem temple, where Pearl tries to teach Steven sword fighting. That's okay. There's a lot. There's gem language.
Yeah. Has anyone ever like successfully translated gem language? Has it ever actually been a thing, or has it just been like random zigzags? I feel like people have tried to. I don't know if they ever succeeded.
Like you got to go into the deep recesses of Tumblr to find that information.
I remember when the episodes were airing live that like people would be trying to like decode it and stuff, but I don't know how successful they were because it was all like speculative.
I think Steven Universe was like on the cusp of when show animators put in a lot of Easter eggs. Like it was just on the cusp where that was starting to become the norm. So maybe like early Steven Universe, I would say the language doesn't translate to anything, but later Steven Universe might.
Yeah, that might be
true.
That
would make sense. I am just remembering what's her face, Robert's favorite character, the
centipedal nephrite.
Sentimami.
Sentimami.
I was trying not to say it.
Scribbling all the things in gem language, and Steven is like, I
can't read. My name's Jared. I'm 19.
Well, I remember that episode because it's like he's like, oh, I guess you don't remember how to write then, and she like looks so offended, and then Pearl's later like, oh, her penmanship's actually very good, and Steven just like assumed she couldn't write at all because it's just a different language, Steven.
Yeah.
Anyway,
despite the title of the episode, Steven actually never even touches a sword.
No, he does not.
I would argue
foreshadowing that he chooses pacifism.
He never fights with a sword.
I would argue Steven the sword fighter is more indicative of him fighting someone with a sword.
Yeah.
Play on words, maybe.
Steven and the sword fighter.
I think it could be indicative of the fact that like at the start of the episode he wanted to learn cool moves and stuff, and like it's like, yeah, I want to be a sword fighter and do these cool sword fighting moves. But then when it came to the actual combat moment, he didn't want to actually like use a sword and use like combat attack things until he had no choice. Maybe Steven is a pacifist. He chooses the non-violent option, and
Uses
swords
a shield.
are much more violent on average than say a broom.
So the title card for this episode doesn't have the clothesline. Possible foreshadowing because Pearl's not there to do his laundry.
It's also this title card, it's raining in the title card. It's like leaving your laundry out to dry in the rain is
True.
not a good course of action. That's like the
Possibly
opposite
not.
effect to my understanding.
Also,
I'm not an expert in rain, but
the rain symbolizes the loss of Pearl.
the sadness.
The sadness that we feel
The
for
sky
Pearl's
is
death.
crying.
There appears to be a Nintendo 64 in the foreground when Steven tries to get Hollow Pearl to organize the figures. At the very end of the episode, the same controller can be seen hanging from the ceiling by its cable. Sure.
Wouldn't be surprised.
Why is it on the ceiling?
Clearly you've never had a Nintendo 64 before.
Sure. All right.
I've never had one either. I thought that joke was funnier in my head.
Okay, here's the figures that Steven shows to Hollow Pearl. They resemble Pikachu.
Mm-hmm.
What is that? What is that?
Google, what is
Guitar Man? Who is this?
That sure is a character.
I guess so.
That sure is a character design. That is the character design of all time.
It sure is. And Hero from Ian Jones Cordy's defunct webcomic RPG World, which, hey, look, we got a reference to Rebecca Sugar's partner, Ian Jones Cordy. Love that.
Woo.
And then there's another one it's Sanic. It's specifically Sanic. It's not Sonic.
Well, yeah. Yeah, it's the Sanic meme. Do you not know the Sanic meme, Charlie?
I just know people saying Sanic. I don't actually know the meme.
I need you to Google Sanic right now and see the image of Sanic. Behold the true Sanic.
Charlie, you cannot Google Sanic. Please do not.
Why?
We need to protect them.
Why?
It's just a silly Sonic. There's Robert, you and I both know there's far worse Sonic-based things Charlie could accidentally stumble across than Sanic.
Oh god, yeah, there was
No, we don't go there.
I'm gonna read the terrible Sonic copy pasta. Hold on.
Oh god.
Sanic. Okay.
I was never big. I knew this person in middle and high school who was big on Sonic, so I knew all of the things, whether I wanted to or not.
Today I learned that in 2003, the fast food company Sonic began printing out their own money to pay their workers. This led to a huge inflation in the economy and was one of the leading factors of the 2008-2009 recession. Would highly recommend looking up Sonic inflation on Google if you want to learn more.
What the fuck?
Oh, god damn it.
For our listeners, do not look up Sonic inflation for a number of reasons.
I won't.
Good.
Just so you know, I won't.
I just want to see how the Sonic restaurant chain caused inflation in the US. How else would I search that?
The sword fight sequence between Pearl and her holographic projection features several shot-for-shot homages to sword fights from the manga anime series Revolutionary Girl Utena.
Utena! Yay!
Utena, my bad.
Sword lesbians in my Steven universe.
Do you know what that is, Robert?
Utena. Is it lesbians with swords?
It is sword lesbians. And there's a lot of rose imagery. It's symbolic. What does it mean? It's symbolic. Don't worry about it.
When Hollow Pearl attacks Steven from above, roses. She appears to be using Sephiroth's Hell Gate move from the Final Fantasy franchise. I don't know anything about Final Fantasy.
Neither do I.
I know the name Sephiroth. I know the name Cloud. I know Cloud has big swords, so when I first watched this episode, I thought the figurine that's from the Ian Jones Cordy's comic was Cloud, but it's not, and that's fair. You know, anime guy with big sword is a pretty generic trope.
Yeah, it is.
On that offset.
Hold on, I gotta since I did the Sonic Inflation copy pasta, I gotta do the Final Fantasy 14 copy pasta.
You actually don't. No one is making you do this.
Why are you
I'm
doing this?
I'm making me do this. Let's see, how's it go? Did you know that the critically acclaimed MMO RPG Final Fantasy 14 has a free trial and includes the entirety of A Realm Reborn and the award-winning Heaven's Ward expansion up to level 60 with no restrictions on playtime?
Okay.
Comedy comes in threes. Somebody set me up for another copy pasta.
No, thank you.
All right.
I
Cloud
didn't want the first
Amethyst.
two.
The Cloud Amethyst rides resembles the flying Nimbus that Goku rides in Dragon Ball. And
Nimbus!
if you know what that's already a reference to, it's a reference to Sun Wukong.
Wukong.
From Journey
It
to
can
the
also
West.
be a reference to Lakitu from the Mario franchise. Charlie, you should watch Dragon Ball. And then Dragon Ball Z, and then Dragon Ball Super, but not Dragon Ball GT.
It's a lot. It's a lot.
It's only like 700 episodes or whatever. I don't know.
See, personally, I think I'm gonna watch One Piece at some point. So
don't. I mean, maybe
that's
actually.
so much.
It does get really good towards, but also don't.
Why not? Why not?
Look, if anyone on this call can watch all of One Piece in like a short time frame, it's gonna be Charlie.
It's me. I'm the one who could do it.
Charlie will somehow look at like the 10, like it'll be like 10,000 hour runtime, and Charlie's gonna finish it in like 3 days.
Yeah, it's insane.
It happens.
It is a talent. Like, I don't know how you manage to warp time like this, but here we are.
I just don't do anything else. And I also don't watch things on more than one time speed, just so you know. I don't cheat.
Okay, you don't need to break my brain even more.
You're welcome.
So when Steven's being attacked by Hollow Pearl, he finds a boomerang and throws it at her while saying "Boomerang, boomerang," which is referring to Sokka in the Nickelodeon series Avatar: The Last Airbender.
Is that actually a reference?
I don't think it is. I think
boomerang.
No, anytime anyone references a boomerang, it's definitively an Avatar reference. Like, that's just fact.
I feel like it's not, but okay.
It is if I say it is. That's how facts work.
Boomerang Blade may be a reference to One Piece.
Charlie, I need you to watch through the 1,000+ episodes of One Piece and tell me when when it's there.
Sure. When it does, I for sure will tell you about Boomerang Blade. Also the Steven doing his pearls back thing with the pot is a reference to The Simpsons, I guess.
Oh yeah, there's a scene where Bart does that. I remember that.
That makes sense to me, actually.
Not surprising.
Do we think that Steven? Let's see. This show came out in 2013. Steven is currently 13, so he would have, if things line up, he was born in 2001, which means, I mean, yeah, you'll still get some good Simpsons in 2007, because I definitely watched my first Simpsons episode when I was 6 years old.
Plus, like, reruns happen, or like they could have like rented a DVD of like earlier seasons, even if it wasn't those ones. Like, things happen.
I don't know. Maybe he was just doing his own thing. You don't know. You don't know his life.
Hey, Charlie, it's your favorite word to pronounce.
It is?
Yes. Begins with a C.
No.
Continuity?
Connie?
Clitoris?
I'm so sorry for that Rick and Morty reference. I can't stop.
No, it's continuity, Charlie. What's the continuity?
Is we've literally been talking about it this whole fucking time. We've been talking about Sword of the Sword and like Connie and all of that shit, and we keep referencing the song. So like, we're done. We've finished. Okay.
Continuity. Pearl says to focus on her feet and her center of gravity versus stances in Sword of the Sword. There, for people who aren't reading the wiki because they're probably like driving while they're listening to this episode. Hi, me from the future. What's up?
Why would you listen to yourself on a podcast?
Because I want to remember hanging out with friends.
So I was gonna do my bit where I'm like, oh, gotta read a third copy pasta. So I'm like, is there Steven Universe copy pasta? There is. It's terrible, but not for like the good reasons where it's cringe. and like disgusting. It's for the bad reasons where it's cringe and like not well written.
Oh, okay. Well, no more copy pasta.
No more.
Hi, my name is
Um,
Stephen Cutie Pie Quartz Universe, and I'm 14 years old, and I have pink curly runner. And I'll leave now.
Well, you can't leave without us asking the question.
Also, who are we giving Pearl points?
Oh fuck, I forgot about poll. Jeez. Oh
Do you
man,
guys need to just like write down a list and like keep
We
a
have a
checklist?
list. I was
We-
going through the list.
we have a list, and I usually look at it and I remembered it, but then we didn't record a podcast for like 3 months, so my brain fucked around and found out. Yeah, Pearl points. Who are we giving Pearl points to this
Who
episode?
are we giving the Pearl points to in this episode?
The cloud that Amethyst ate.
Can I? I'm gonna give it to the boomerang. Just the plain old boomerang, not the blade, just the boomerang because it did its job.
You know, that's fair. I honestly probably would have given my pearl point to the boomerang too, but I feel like I should do something else just to spread out the points.
It was either that or the mop for me.
That's fair. Oh, I want to get my pearl point. We glossed over this while Steven's waiting for Pearl to regenerate. He puts her gem under like a heat lamp, like you would for an egg when you're incubating
Yeah,
it. Pearl
yeah.
point goes to the egg. He's trying to get her to hatch, and that'd be
I
a
mean-
horrifying thing to happen. But he doesn't
I
know that yet.
Her gem does kind of look like an egg. Let's
Yeah.
be honest.
Pearl,
And she's Bird Mom.
Oh
Yeah.
my
Bird
god.
Mom. He's trying to hatch her.
She's Bird Mom. But
Yeah.
Charlie, how the fuck are we gonna make a question out of this? What would you look like when you regenerate? Like what the fuck are you doing?
Like that's just me.
Have you ever been stabbed? Me going
Have
into the
you ever-
replies. Me going to the replies. Yes. twice.
Robert? No. Robert,
Yes.
you're not allowed to talk about the times you've been stabbed.
No, I'm not.
Yes,
allowed
I've been
to.
vaccinated. Yes.
Oh no, not
True.
vaccinated. No, I mean like actually stabbed.
I know, but that doesn't make my joke land.
I
I mean, there's a lot of themes of like loss in this episode, so maybe something about that.
Oh, if we.
Oh,
if the
I forgot. I forgot to
the
say a
que-
thing for my notes. Hold on, let me find in my notes. Hold on. Where is it? Where is it?
If we make the question like how do you process grief or whatever, I'm gonna be sitting here for 20 minutes crying.
How do
do
you
I pro-
process grief, Robert?
how
Wow,
do I
only
process
20
grief?
minutes.
How do I process grief? Poorly.
I found
True.
the thing in my notes that
Yeah, you
Is it
have
re-
a question?
No, I just remembering this thing from my notes I forgot to say during the episode. There's a really sad parallel in this narrative about between like Pearl and Rose versus Steven and Hollywood Pearl about like losing somebody that like you really care about, and then they're being replaced with a version with a different thing that's like similar to them, made by them, but not the same. And you're trying to make them be the same, but they're not ever going to be because they're their own new separate entity.
Huh. So you're saying this is like some deep foreshadowing?
I don't know, but you know, the show covers trauma a lot and sadness a lot. There's a lot of crying in this
There's
show.
a lot of things.
Usually from Pearl.
It's like that. There's that joke from SpongeBob where it's like you've cried today 47 times and it's not even 9 o'clock.
You know what? Okay.
Just the
Here's
other day, you were crying about snakes.
They
they don't have any arms.
Charlie, have you cried 47 times today before 9 o'clock?
Maybe.
Okay.
I have pink eyebrow. Of course I've been crying today.
Ooh. Oof.
I'm dying. Okay.
I know
okay.
you said I have pink eye, bro, but it sounded like you said I have pink eyebrow for a second, and it's like Steven testing out if he wants to dye his whole head pink or not.
Okay. I have the question.
And we have the answer.
Did you ever like try to do something that you saw in a movie, like as
How
a
about-
child? Like, you know?
Okay, I need to figure out how to actually rephrase that because
Yeah.
Spotify for podcasters only allows like 160 character question.
Well, yeah, it sucks.
But no,
well-
that's a good question. I'll word it better when I edit. But yes, no. Here's the thing. I have severe ADHD and maybe autism. I definitely tried to do the
Mood.
Kamehameha many times when I was a kid. And by when I was a kid, I mean maybe like last week.
Maybe today it'll work. I
literally
totally
have a sonic screwdriver toy in my hand.
You do. You do. You very
I
much
will neither
do.
confirm nor deny the truth of this claim. They do. Uh when
Yeah.
I was a kid, I definitely did try to water and earth and airbend mostly, and a
Mood!
little bit firebend, but that seemed dangerous. So
Yeah, I feel like I stuck more with the air and the water bending because you swimming, you try to do the water bending.
like if you move your hand fast, you made wind. So if you just do that better, then you're airbending, obviously.
Exactly.
My favorite TV to replicate when I was a kid was when I watched Bill Nye the Science Guy and I could replicate the science experiments.
Nerd.
Mm.
Nerd.
Listen, science is
Yeah.
cool.
I only ever ended up watching Bill Nye in school when we were about to have us do the experiment that Bill did. So
Exactly. Bill,
I didn't have to do that on my own.
Bill Nye, the science guy. Bill Nye, the science guy.
Bill Nye,
Anyway.
the science guy. Bill.
Oh, I will redact my not doing that much firebending stuff because I remember the episode where we first meet Zhang Zhang and he like made the leaf burn in the middle. I was like,
yeah.
if I just do that, I'll get started. Like you gotta try it. Of course, it happened to be raining that day that I saw that episode, so I couldn't go out in the sun and magnify the light. But I tried.
I definitely have tried to move objects with my mind. Just as a general thing.
I replicated this thing from TV that's pretty common called I had a parent die.
Robert,
That's
you need to
you
stop.
didn't try to replicate that. It kind of just happened. The implication of you tried to replicate that, it suggests that you murdered a parent, and I don't think that's what happened. You don't need to unload your traumatic backstory TM to me if you don't want to, but I don't think that's what happened.
I killed him with kindness. No, he died from COVID. I killed him with kindness.
I have like the two people who are like the worst about like trauma together, I swear. Like
You got us both for the
Kyela,
episode where
Kyla,
Steven
you haven't made your trauma joke. Make your trauma joke.
What
let's
trauma
hear it.
joke?
Let's hear it.
Your adoption joke. Hey, look, I'm adopted.
It hasn't come up yet for me to comedically reference the fact that I'm adopted. Like I don't know.
It just comes up.
At least Kyla was wanted. Get it?
What'd you just say?
At least you were wanted.
Did you just call her Kyla?
You did not just say you were wanted. You said something else.
What did I say? What?
Did you just call her Kyla?
I'm dyslexic. Leave me alone.
Wow.
Oh, you know what? That's the only valid reason.
Yeah, you're the only one who gets a pass on that. Every single other person doesn't. People don't know how to read my name.
Say it again into my ears so I can say it properly for the joke.
Kyla.
Again,
Yep.
dyslexic. I'm sorry. So
no, it's fine.
Kyla was wanted.
Many people my name is spelt a little weird because there's an E in the middle.
Your name is
the number of people
around. Jesus Christ.
Yeah, the number of people who tell me, "Oh, I know a Kyla. She doesn't have the E though." Is every single person who knows a Kyla and knows me, and I'm just like, I know. There's an E in there. I know there isn't usually an E. Susan.
Anyway, long convoluted way.
Susan.
You were wanted. I wasn't. I was an accident at Disney.
You weren't wanted?
I'm not even joking, by the way. I was made by accident at Disneyland. I might tell that story someday on the pod.
You know, I was also an accident, presumably, and then that happened, so I got both.
It cancels out. You were an accident, but then you were wanted. Hooray!
Negative trauma.
Let's end this goddamn episode before. Did we even ever answer the question? We just started trauma dumping.
No, we talked. We did.
All right, so let's end this episode before we trauma dump more because I do not.
Oh wait, another question we could have asked for just a simple yes. Do you wish to engage in combat?
Oh, that's actually funny. We could do that. Do you wish to engage in combat? And it's a poll, yes or no.
It's also all in caps. It needs to be all in caps.
Engage in combat.
Yeah, no, and then the options are parry, parry, strike,
Thrust.
or thrust.
See,
Yeah.
You're gonna get a lot of thrusts just
Right.
for the joke, so.
No,
I'm doing-
I'll answer it and I'll say thrust.
Hey, yo, Charlie. Charlie.
Yeah.
Okay, so
Okay.
can we end this fucking podcast before we
Yeah.
continue
Hey,
comment
hey,
dumping?
if every podcast were perfect.
Hello? Do we not want Holy shit, brain, can you say the words Kyela?
No, it's Kyla.
Damn it! Why does my brain keep forgetting? Kyla.
There's a person at my work who still sometimes calls me Kayla. I've worked there for almost 3 years now, so like it's
Kyla.
fine.
Kyla?
The
Kyla.
The funny part is his name is Kai.
Do we not want Kyla to say goodbye to our listeners, aka, future driving Kyla?
Kyla, say goodbye to the listeners. I don't know if you want to be found on the internet. If you do,
I think I'm good
that's up
being
to you.
relatively anonymous. They already know my first name. That's enough to find me literally anywhere.
They're doing better than I am because apparently I can't get it.
Featuring the guest that shall not be named.
A surprise guest, Voldemort. Anyway.
Surprise guest redacted.
Surprise guest redacted. Anyway, can we end this goddamn podcast? Charlie, if every podcast were perfect,
we wouldn't have the bits.
Goodbye, everyone.
Get the fuck out
of my cabin.
You can follow this podcast socials at The Bits SU Pod on Instagram and Tumblr. You can send a message to our Diamond line through thebitssupod@gmail.com. Be sure to give us a rating, a review, or let your friends and followers know how much you love the podcast. That really helps. Our music was written and produced by Jason Hilton. You can find him at Negative Selections on Instagram. You can follow me, Charlie, at GreenPixie12 on most platforms, and I also have an art Instagram at GreenPixieDraws.
You can find me, Robert, at the Damn Meme page on Instagram, Twitter, and TikTok. Damn is spelled D-A-M. If you want to hear more from me, check out one of my many podcasts. I have a Once Upon a Time podcast called Entering Storybrooke, a Kim Possible podcast called That's a Sitch, and an Osman Verse podcast called The Truum Grammar Book Club.
The Bits is proud to be a part of Deus Ex Media, which features great podcasts like Of the Eldest Gods, a chapter-by-chapter Rick Riordan pod with mythological context and no spoilers.
Charlie, I'm so glad I found you. Are you okay?
Yeah, I'm fine. The break was hard, but I'm not injured.
Thank the gods. What do we do now?
Okay, Ray, I need you to listen to me. There's only one book left, and I know it's gonna be hard. But we have to get through it.
I know. Okay, I'm gonna run out and start reading.
Good plan. Okay. I'll start emailing guests.
Charlie! No! You're an introvert!
It's okay! I can do this!
Remember me, Charlie!
I love you, buddy!
For Rick!
Check out Of the Eldest Gods. Episodes every Thursday, now covering Book 5 of Percy Jackson and the Olympians, The Last Olympian.
What say you, Charlie?
Would say me.
I remember. I didn't step on your bit.
My bit.
Your
don't-
bit.
My bit.
Is this not a Pearl-centered episode?
We've already talked about Pearl.
Have we? Damn it! I thought I was being a good co-host for once. Damn it!
You know what? I'm so happy that you thought about it and you didn't step on my toes for once. Thank you.
I'm cutting all that part out. No one can know that I was nice to Charlie. It'll ruin my image.
Fuck you. Fuck you so much, Robert. You're so mean.
Well, it's a good thing I'm here to be nice to Charlie.
Charlie's gonna grow up a really a fucked up kid just from having one parent be nice, one parent be not.
Implying
nice.
They're not already.
Yeah, I think I've already been fucked up.
Dave X Media.